Hello, everyone. This is Independent Conservative. I am Ryan Bowling. Thank you all for joining once again. So I'm pretty sure most of you guys are familiar with the socialist, Muslim socialist. What is his name? I think his name is Zoran Mandina. Zoran Mandina. This is a picture of him. You can see here. I'm pretty sure some of you guys are familiar with him. He's a Muslim socialist, an avowed Muslim socialist. He's made it plain to everyone that he is a socialist. Okay, no doubt about it. I'm a socialist. Okay, and that he's running to be the mayor, the next mayor for the city of New York. He has beat Andrew Cuomo's out of it, and I think he dropped out. And so this guy, he's running for the mayor of New York. He's won the primaries that they've been accepted. He's won the primaries. He still has to go against Eric Adams, so there's still time. But at any rate, that's what it is. He's an avowed Muslim socialist, and he's won the primary, so he's in there to some extent. They have accepted him to that level at that point. I think something else that I wanted to mention too is very important that we understand, and that is the fact that this man is very, very convincing and charismatic, and that's what I want to focus on. Okay, but I just want to read a small portion of this article to you guys, and I'm going to get right into what I mean by that, because I'm not going to get into the detail about him being a socialist and communism and all that. I'm not going to get into the detail of all that. I'm going to focus on some very important things that we need to pay attention to, and I think the residents of the city of New York need to pay attention to. Okay, so let's get right into this. Socialist New York City mayoral candidate Zoran Mandina is not shy about playing race and class cards in his campaign platform proposal to hike property taxes for, quote, richer and whiter neighborhoods, end quote. And one of the accusations in this particular article that that people are really like upset with him about is the fact that he is trying to push this idea of taxing, people, quote unquote, rich white people in neighborhoods that are prominently filled with white people. And there are people that are there are politicians, that are other people that are upset with what he's trying to do. Essentially, saying is that he's simply playing a race game, which is what these Democrats do all the time. They play the race game. We don't need to go through it. I don't need to go into the detail about the race game. I'm not going to get into all of that, because we know, and I think people ought to be smart enough to know, to see, okay, when the Democrats start talking, start talking about race. It's not about law and order. It's not about equality. It's all about race, because they always separate the white from the black every single time. But anyway, that's another story. But yeah, a lot of people in the city, particularly certain politicians and Congress people, are upset with what he's trying to do here. So I'm going to get further into this article, and we're going to get into the meat of this. Says, let me read some of this. It says, the race-based language is contained in Mandina's extensive, quote, stop the squeeze on New York homeowners campaign material. It promises that his campaign administration will, quote, shift the tax burden from overtaxed homeowners in the outer boroughs to more expensive homes in richer and whiter neighborhoods. I want to read another portion here of a rebuttal from a Republican councilman. And he told the Washington Post, he says, the objective of our reform is to make our property tax system fairer and more transparent, and to ensure that middle and working class homeowners aren't subsidizing lower taxes for wealthy property owners. It's not about blaming people based on race or class or political affiliation. And if Zoran wants to come on board, then he should stop the divisive rhetoric. That's all I'm going to read right there. You guys can read the rest of that article in the Breitbart News if you're so pleased. I want to get right down to the meat of the subject here. As I was reading this article, and as I was listening to this guy talk, and all the things that he was saying, and all the questions that were asked him, and he had an answer. He had answers. He was quick. I mean, this guy, the bottom line is this. If anyone has studied the history, the true history of socialism and communism, and not the romanticized version of it, but the true history of socialism and communism, As a political and economic system, you all know that it is a dismal failure. It will not work. Even if you first put it in place and things seem to be doing good and everybody's getting $30 an hour and everybody has the same this and the same that and everybody's hooping and hollering in reference to government-owned city or government-owned grocery stores, which is one of his proposals. He wants to create a chain of government-owned grocery stores. Come on, man. Sounds like old SSR to me. But yeah, that's what he wants to do. It may look good for a while. But everyone who knows the history of socialism and knows the history of communism knows that is going to inevitably fail. That is history. That is the facts. But aside from all of that, okay, if you add charisma and good looks and the ability to speak well, he has that ability. He reminds me of Vivek Ramaswamy. He reminds me of Vivek Ramaswamy, the Republican that was running for the president and was campaigning against Trump. Yeah, he reminds me of him. Because he has the ability to articulate his words in a way that's very fluent, that's very precise, that's very clear. Even though when I'm listening to him, I'm like, oh my God. Pure socialist, pure communist. In your face communism. But this guy is so skillful and he's so charismatic that if people are not careful, he's going to really mess up a lot of people in New York. Now I want to mention a term here in reference to that. This is a term that some of you might know this term. It's called the halo effect. And essentially the halo effect is a psychological term that refers to the view people have towards an individual, where people tend to attribute intelligence, grace, power, prestige, money onto a person based on their looks and their style and the way they walk and talk. Okay, that's the halo effect. But the other thing in my kind of definition, okay, it's not a textbook definition, but what I just explained is a general crust of that, and you can look that word up yourself, okay? As a matter of fact, I'm going to actually look that word up for you guys. How about that? I'm going to look that word up for you guys. And just so that you will know exactly what I mean by the halo effect. Yes, here we are right here. Let me explain this. The halo effect is a cognitive bias where a positive impression of a person, product, or company in one area influences our overall perception of them, even if that perception is not entirely warranted. Essentially, a single positive trait leads us to make assumptions about other positive qualities, even if we have no evidence to support those assumptions. Let me read that again. The halo effect is a cognitive bias where a positive impression of a person, product, or company in one area influences our overall perception of them, even if that perception is not entirely warranted. Essentially, a single positive trait leads us to make assumptions about other positive qualities, even if we have no evidence to support those assumptions. So the halo effect essentially is when you look at one or two positive qualities about that person, okay? So that's the truth. I may have not defined that properly, so I made an error there. But essentially it's taking a positive trait of that person, which is what this guy really is an example of. A positive trait or two of that person, and we take that positive trait or two of that individual or that product or that company, and we elevate it basically over all the other aspects or areas of that person, of that company, of that product, even though we have no evidence to warrant that. You get my point, okay? This man here, regardless of our knowledge of socialism and communism, which are failed systems completely, the fact that this man is charismatic, the fact that he's handsome, the fact that he's energetic, is going to mislead a lot of people. They are going to develop if they have not developed the halo effect for this person. Now, somebody can argue that about Trump. Say, the MAGA group, they had a halo effect about Trump. Okay, maybe they did have the halo effect about Trump. But the difference between the halo effect about Trump and the halo effect about this man is that the halo effect about Trump is the fact that people were looking at his policies, which were positive, which were and are positive, and elevating those positive policies over some negative aspects about him. What are those negative aspects? He's kind of brash. He's kind of rough around the edges. He's not the best an articulate speaker. He makes fun of people. I think that the so-called bias in reference to Trump and the halo effect in reference to Trump is greater than the effects of the halo effect that is maybe initiated upon this man running for the mayor of New York. So I don't want to hear that the MAGA crowd had a halo effect with Trump, man. Come on. And where is it leading us? Down the road of destruction? I don't think so. This man, I am really concerned about. And even though I don't live in New York, I pray for the residents of New York that they will not develop the halo effect towards this man. Because I saw him in several interviews. I heard the way he talks. One particular, he was doing a campaign where he was inside a grocery store and he had his microphone on. He's inside a grocery store. He's walking down the aisles talking about how high the prices are in these grocery stores and it's hard for lower income families to survive and so forth. I mean, he knows how to relate to the people. He knows how to relate to the little people. That's how these socialists and communists do. When they're campaigning, they know how to relate to the quote unquote little people, right? Them the people they're trying to get. They're trying to destroy the capitalists and people with money by taking from them. But the little people, the people that don't have money and stuff like, oh, you poor thing, you struggling, you're trying to make it through. That's their way of relating to you. It's a Trojan horse, people. It's a Trojan horse. Even though I don't live in New York, it's a Trojan horse. If you're living in New York and you watching this video, it is a Trojan horse. Don't fall for it. I'm telling you, down the line, oh Lord, you are going to suffer. Okay, government-owned grocery stores are not going to last. Somebody going to suffer. I'm telling you. That is the history of socialism. It's amazing to me how these kind of people, like this man here, can hold on to socialism, seeing it as a dismal failure. I would assume he knows the history of socialism. I would assume he knows the history of communism. I would assume he knows that, but it seems to me that he doesn't seem to know that. Because unless he's just pure evil, he's an antichrist in human form, and he knows the destruction is going to bring, and he knows there's a system of control, and that's what he's inevitably trying to do. But I'm trying to give the man a benefit of the doubt. But anyway, it's amazing to me. Please, people, don't fall for the halo effect with this guy. Don't fall for it. Don't look at his ability to appeal to your circumstances and appeal to. I mean, it's politics. I get it. But look past all of that. Look at other areas. Do some research on what socialism and communism actually is. Please. From the perspective of conservatives, not the perspectives of liberals. Because liberals and Marxists, they support this type of stuff. The mainstream liberal media supports socialism and communism. They won't say it out their mouth, but they support that system. They support government-owned and government-controlled everything. They support that. You're not going to get informed watching the mainstream legacy media. It's not going to inform you, people. I'm not saying you guys are doing that. I'm just saying in general. People got to wake up, man, to what's going on. You got to get past what the mainstream media is telling you because you're going to get tricked all the time. So my word is, man, to the New Yorkers, don't fall for this, man. Don't fall for this. Because these people are all over the place. AOC, she's a socialist. And I was watching a TikTok video where they had this still picture of her and they were playing this groove, cool music in the background, talking about she's this, she's the next person, and they did praising her. And I'm saying to myself, what kind of person would fall for her? I don't know. I mean, she's attractive and all that. She's well-spoken. She knows how to articulate her point of view and all that. But her policies stink. She's a socialist, folks. If she gets in a position of authority, if she becomes the president, if she becomes somebody, the mayor or whatever, down the line, economically, people are going to suffer bad. I'm telling you. That is the system of that socialism. And socialism, I'm getting back into that, okay? Socialism is the stepping stone inevitably to communism. People don't fool themselves, man. I'm telling you. But I just wanted to say that. This guy is very articulate, and that's what I'm focusing on. He's very articulate. He's well-spoken. He knows how to put his words together. He was being interviewed. I forget exactly what news source he was being interviewed on, but they were interviewing this guy. And he's sitting there smiling. And I think a reporter was asking him, all these programs you put in on, and I'm paraphrasing the words, all these programs you put in on, how are you going to finance all of this? And he's just sitting there smiling. He's like, just as confident, just as assured. And that's important in politics. You have to exude confidence and assurance within yourself. That's the perception that you want to push. And I would argue that this man probably understands the concept of the halo effect. He probably knew that before I did. If I was to come to him and talk to him, he said, and mention the halo effect, he'd probably say, I'm familiar with that, Mr. Bolin. Familiar with that, sir. I know how to play the people. I know how to put the people in a hypnotic trance. I know how to appeal to their struggles and their sufferings. I know how to do that. I know how to represent. But in the background, I know that this system is a system of enslavement and ultimate poverty. If these people think they were poor before, wait till socialism really gets started. Let's talk about, we don't need to talk about Venezuela, do we? Let me show you guys this book here. His book, United States of Socialism, written in 2020 by Denise D'Souza. I hope I'm not mispronouncing his name. I'm not good with names. But anyway, some of you guys know him. He's an Indian, conservative Indian commentator and author and filmmaker. This is an excellent expose on socialism in America. And he mentions Venezuela. And his argument and his critique of Venezuela in this book is outstanding. It will make you open your eyes. And he makes a statement in the book in referencing Venezuela and the state of Venezuela is that many of the socialists in this country are trying to push the same economic system and plan here in America. Really? Really? The halo effect. The halo effect, man. That's I hope that doesn't happen. New Yorkers, don't fall into the trap of the halo effect. Study what socialism actually is as an economic system. Study it. And then say, I don't want to vote for this fool. I don't want to vote for this clown. That's what you do. Because if you do, and he gets in office, it may look good at first. All the workers getting $30 an hour. I'm just saying, if he ever pulls that off, getting $30 an hour. Woo! My God, that's awesome. Woo-wee. Lower taxes, government-owned grocery stores. Woo, God. Man, where the prices are set. They stay at that price. Really? Really? See how long that lasts. See how long that lasts. Study history. Study the history of socialism. Study the history of communism. Look at the present socialist and communist countries. Somebody mentioned China. Blah, 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 blah. China, yeah, the Chinese communist regime in terms of the government is communist, but they rejected and pushed aside the total system of communism and allow corporations and businesses, I think in the 70s or 80s on that time, to push capitalism. Because the system of communism under Mezaldong, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not good with names, folks. But he was a communist dictator. And I'm not going to go into the detail of that. I said I wasn't going to do that. Okay. But I'll just throw this out here. He put forth an economic system, I think it was called the Great Leap Forward, that created where you would have people come in, he would have his cronies take grain and food and stuff from farmers and all the rest, just forcefully snatch it from them. And he created the single worst man-made famine in all of human history. While everybody's pooting and snotting and farting and having a conniptive fit about fascism and capitalism and how horrible fascism and capitalism is here. And oh my God, we got to get rid of these capitalists and all these fascists, and because they tend to connect fascism to capitalism, right? Oh, we got boo, 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 boo. Everybody is ignoring the one economic and political system that has caused more deaths than all economic and political systems in all of human history. Duh, it's communism. And while everybody's yipping and yapping about the flaws of capitalism and fascism and calling Trump the next Hitler and a Nazi and all this other dumb, retarded stuff, you got communists and socialists in your political realm taking over and going to end up creating the same thing, same economic system and political system that caused millions upon millions upon millions of people to either die in death camps or starve to death. Wake up and smell the coffee, man, the tea and the trumpets and crumpets and everything else. What's wrong with people? Wake up, dude. Wake the heck up. I'm going off. I'm going off, man. I'm going off. Y'all know I get excited. I get motivated because and I'm not trying to. I'm like I'm all that in a bag of chips. But I ain't just started studying this stuff. I've been studying this stuff and reading up on this stuff for years from all types of different sources and researchers. Highly documented. Okay, I got the big black book on communism. It's this thick, dude. Stop playing, man. Stop playing. This guy is good. He's good with the way he presents himself. That's the problem. What is he saying? Listen to what he's saying and then study. What is this guy talking about? It sounds good, but is that really what it's all about? It is not. I'm telling you, it is not. It's a Trojan horse. It's a trick. I'm telling you. Anyway, that's what I had to say about that. Yeah. The halo effect. Don't fall for it, New Yorkers. Don't fall for it. But what do you guys think about this guy here talking about Charles? You know, he wants to essentially tax white people and so forth. Clearly racist. Clearly racist. This is what these socialists and communists, like I said, do. They're good at dividing people. That's what they do. Let me tell you something. Let me start some of this video up with this. One of the evidences that you are talking, or one of the signs rather, evidences, one of the signs that you are talking to a communist or a socialist or Marxist is when they start yipping and yapping about racial inequality. I mean, that's their mainstay. Or at least one of them. Racial inequality. Woo-hoo, woo-hoo. The little people, they suffered. And the little people suffered in poverty because the people that got money taking it from them. Man, that is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard because I used to believe that foolishness. But then as I began to study, I began to ask myself a question. Okay, how is it that people that got money is causing me to not have money? How are they actually taking this money from me? Now, if you want to talk about the international banking families, which are the super capitalists, that's a whole nother story in and of itself. But there's nothing we can do about them. We can't vote them in and out of office. They're the ones that finance the communists and the Marxists and the progressives and the socialists. They finance their movements. Right? But we can't do anything about them. But what we can do is not vote for these foot soldiers of the international banking families. Stop voting for them, and it will make the international banking family's quest for control and power run a little bit slower. You may not be able to stop them, but you can sure hinder them and slow them down by learning what socialism is, communism is, Marxism is, progressivism is, and liberalism really is in terms of the day. When you start learning that, you can slow down the international banking family's financing of these groups. I'm just saying. Anyway, yeah, the halo effect. But that's what I had to say about this. This guy's he's clearly racist. He's clearly trying to push something that a lot of people in the state of New York, and the city of New York rather, is not for. And yeah, it's classic communism. It's classic Marxism. Classic Marxism. Don't fall for the halo effect. That's what I had to say about it. What do you guys think about this? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all, and see you again.